Greetings. Twisted Ass 454 here. Anyway, today I'm going to be reading some more chapters from Twisted Story Asylum. To be these particular works, one of them I believe is actually in the first volume, but I'm not 100% sure. I have a lot of different material to work with. I'm pretty sure these are not going to be in number 2. These are going to be in number 3. Oh, update for you. Volume number 2 is on YouTube for you to watch on one condition. Just to prevent any spoiling, the video I just uploaded, volume number 2, is actually kind of a mix of different works from volumes number 2 and 3, but the majority of the works you are going to see on that video are from volume number 2. The majority of number 3 are yet to be shown. Just so y'all know. It's hilarious material, but it is graphic, offensive, and, it's very controversial, to say the least. Don't mind the sunlight. I apologize for the inconvenience of such. It's kind of actually starting to piss me off, but that's okay. It could still work. So, these chapters I am going to be reading you. I guarantee you, the first 2 are going to be very offensive. The third one, if I decide to do the third one, will probably be relatively asinine. Well, it won't be that offensive, but it'll just be fucking stupid and, just be fucking goofy as fuck. I assure you, these first 2 chapters I'm going to be reading to you are graphic and offensive, and include, but are not limited to, they include elements of violence, gore, sexual content, racism, this and that. But it's hilarious material nonetheless. Well, I don't know. I think so, and my fans do too. Most of my fans like to keep a relatively low profile because of the nature of my work. Okay. So, without much further ado, let's look for it. See if we can find it. Okay. So, I'm just going to need a little time to look for it. Here we go. This particular one is called House Arrest Gone Wrong. Now, the idea of house arrest gone wrong is pretty much like, well, there's a guy on house arrest, and, what essentially happens is, he's on house arrest, and he ain't got nobody to bring him food, and he doesn't have any food, and this story picks up from there. Okay. House arrest gone wrong. House arrest is normally a more desirable sentence than actual prison time, for a number of different reasons. As opposed to prison, you can drop the soap and actually pick the soap up without the inconvenience of being sodomized. Like, for instance, there is house arrest. Drop the soap, pick it up. In prison, drop the soap and have big nigger fuck you in the butt. Okay? You can also get pussy in house arrest. Like this guy. Eating out some puss. See that? Ooh. And you can smoke. See? There's a guy smoking while sitting on his toilet. You can poop when you want to, smoke if you want to, or do both simultaneously, as you saw in the last depiction. And you don't have to worry about your lunch being stolen. This brings us to our next topic, which is when you are on house arrest and have nobody to bring food to the house. I mean, if you were some poor bastard on house arrest with nobody to bring food to you, but a different food vending vehicle passed your house every day. Day 3 without food. Meals on Wheels goes by his house. And the guy says, "Help! Help! I'm starving!" Now, this was portrayed back in an earlier time before they had electronic bracelets. You notice he has an actual chain. He has a fucking shackle. He's shackled up to one of the beams, one of the load-bearing beams, one of the load-bearing walls in his house. Day 4, without food. An ice cream truck goes by his house, and the little kid is sitting there with an ice cream cone going, "This is yummy ice cream, and you can't have none." And the guy just says, "Oh, you little shit, fuck you, give me some." Like there, saying, "This is yummy ice cream, and you can't have none. Ooh, 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 I'm starving, give me some fucking ice cream." Day 6, without food. Salsa Mexican food truck goes by his house. Day 8, with no phone to order pizza, the guy decides to saw his arms and leg off with a table saw, then quickly goes to his stove top to stop the bleeding. Like, for instance, there, you see him, he's sawing his arms and legs off, right? And then he puts his wounds out on the stove. The guy used his leg and 2 arms. He sawed off for food. This only held over for a little over a week. Hold on just one moment. Gotta get some better lighting in here. Okay, much better. Day 16, without food, with deer in living room. Don't ask me how a fucking deer got in his living room. It just did. But can't use his Winchester 30-30 because he ain't got no arms. He ain't got nothing, so to speak. Oh, and the deer says, "No, no, 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 no. I'm in your living room, but you can't shoot me, 'cause you ain't got none." Oh, oh, oh. And the guy says, "Get the fuck out of here! Fuck out of here! Fuck out of here!" And I will show you the depiction. There is the depiction of the deer going, "You can't shoot me because you ain't got none." When I say you ain't got none, so to speak, I'm referring to he ain't got no arms. You see, because he has a loaded Winchester 30-30 up on a wall, but he ain't got no arms because he sawed them off to salvage them for a meal. You understand how that works? You imagine that. You're in a situation where you have sawed your arms off in an attempt to get a meal, and it worked. But a deer somehow or another gets in your living room, and you're in a situation where you have a loaded Winchester 30-30 up on the wall in mint condition. That's a fully functional firearm, and you can't shoot the deer that's in your living room because you ain't got none. See how that works? Because you ain't fucking got none. See, I'm getting off track here. Last day without food during house arrest. A produce/farm market truck has a blowout and flips the truck over so fruits and vegetables are strewn all over the house arrestee's front lawn and his porch. But again, the door's locked and he ain't got no arms. So there you see the house arrestee trying to open the locked doorknob with his mouth. Of course, he's still shackled up with a chain and a shackle. This is back before they had the ankle bracelet. And he starves to death. When the police come to free this poor bastard from house arrest, they find a starved, skeleton-like corpse. Now, here is a different scenario. Surprisingly, the gentleman with the eye patch, this is a different guy. Not the same guy, this is a different guy. This is Act 2. Surprisingly, the gentleman with the eye patch and leaking boner is a notorious is the notorious eye gouger, a prominent necrophiliac in these parts, and is also going to be put on house arrest. You are under arrest for conspiracy to have sex with the dead. Starvation bait house arrestees. So in other words, this guy was trying to have sex with the body of the other guy in the last scene. And there he is. That's eye gouger. There's a story in one of my... It's going to be in the 3rd volume. Or it might even be in the 2nd volume, called Dude, Where's My Corpse 2, which is the sequel to Dude, Where's My Corpse. And in that story, you get to meet the necro gangbangers. They're like a gang of necrophiliacs. They got a lot of issues, let's just put it that way. And you see them from time to time in different stories. They're completely fucking disgusting, and I would never invite them over for dinner, but they're fictitious characters, so don't worry about it. So anyway, let's go on, shall we? House arrest. This brings us to another unpleasant aspect of house arrest. The inability to hold a job. Obviously, it's impossible to make it to work on time, or all for that matter, or at all for that matter, when on house arrest. And thus, being evicted by the police, then of course the police realize you're on house arrest, so they burn rubber, doing a 180 in the middle of the road, hitting pedestrians while at it. Pedestrian complete with white cane and seeing eye dog. Ooh, that's a burn. And arresting the house arrestee for house arrest violations, and even though the cops threw him out in the first place. This was because he couldn't pay the rent. So, there are some of the depictions. See? And, that pretty much concludes this particular story. That concludes House Arrest Gone Wrong. Now, there's another one I'd like to read to you about blind dates gone wrong. Oh, I must assure you, this chapter will offend some of you, although it's really funny material. It will offend some of you. Okay, here it is. Blind dates gone wrong. Are you ready? Story number 2. Blind dates are normally supposed to be fun and mysterious at first. But I, the author, need to inform you of what can go wrong on a blind date. Anne was on a blind date with Ben, who was a nice and gentle man with one minor flaw. He smoked 18 packs of cigarettes a day. Ben says, "So, tell me a little about yourself." Anne goes, There's, you see all those cigarettes hanging out of his mouth? Anyway. Or how about Marcia, who was nice enough on a blind date, in the most literal sense of the word, with Bob, who did a hit-and-run sex session. Woo-hoo! 4 days later, she realizes she's pregnant because someone couldn't hold a hard-on for any longer than 3 seconds without ejaculation. In other words, pregnancy without the joy of actually fucking, or not even getting a dinner out of the deal. And there is the depiction. Say, whoa! Up, up! I'm done! Runs away. You imagine that? You get fucked. You're not even aware of it because it's just so short, right? So she got fucked. No dinner out of the deal. Didn't even get the joy of, and she's stuck with this guy's kid. What a fucking drag. This next one's really gonna piss you off, but this one's got some racist humor in it, so if you're allergic to that, you might want to, plug your ears or, go in the other room or something. Don't say I didn't warn you. Okay. Or worse yet, a black man named Joe had a blind date with Thelma, who was a female white supremacist. Had he mentioned his race, he might not be so hung up on his date. And there's the depiction of the blind date. You see how Joe kind of got hung up on his date? You notice that? And there's the female white supremacist man. Maybe he should have mentioned his race. Okay. Now this is where things really get interesting. Or how about poor John, who went on a blind date with Bertha, who seemed okay. Except for weighing 800 pounds and eating everything in sight, including her date. Now Bertha is seen here eating this man alive. And there is the stomach. See, John ends up in the fat lady's stomach. Well, if a friend of mine were to go on a blind date with a fat chick, and I haven't seen him in a while, I might say to myself, gee, I hope there's a motel in that stomach because I'm sure he'll be staying overnight. Anyway, so that's pretty much that. There's other bullshit in the chapter, but that's pretty much concludes blind dates gone wrong. And I'm sure I'm going to get some negative comments. Like, I'm sure I'm going to have somebody tell me to go hang myself. No, you first. Exactly. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed those stories. And stay tuned for more material from my work. The current version, Twisted Children's Story Asylum, the first Twisted Story Asylum, is available on Amazon. The second and third volumes are going to be available on Amazon relatively soon. Okay? Also, don't forget that volume number 2 is viewable on YouTube as of last night. So don't forget to check that out. Thumbs up, subscribe, tell your friends. If you don't like, well, sorry you feel that way. You don't like it, don't watch it. Okay. Good day to you. Bye-bye.